guys, Brett here at Motion Raceworks, and today we're going to talk about our Rife sensor blocks and how to change out a sensor within the block. So our sensor blocks are available in a 2-position, 3-position, and 4-position sensors. Each one of these blocks can hold either a pressure sensor or a map sensor. The sensors are available in all of our pressure ranges that are normal in our screw-in sensors, from 60 to 1600 psi and from 1 bar to 10 bar in a map sensor. You have 2 selections on thread inputs to these sensors, a direct thread on 3AN or an 1/8" female MPT, where then you could put any fitting type that you need for your particular circuit. The beauty of these sensor blocks is a few things really. Number one, it simplifies wiring. If you're building a car from scratch that's not already wired, now you can have 4 inputs on one wiring connector. So you have a single 5 volts, a single 0 volts feeding all 4 sensors, and then all of your outputs on one cable connection. The sensor blocks are able to be mounted remotely from the engine, protecting it from heat sources and vibrations, and then the sensors are then tethered with a hose, a push lock, a rubber hose, stainless hose, whichever type you choose for your build for that particular application can feed the sensor. The sensor's double isolated now against vibrations and protecting the sensor and protecting your data so you have a nice clean signal. So one of the questions that we get a lot with these sensor blocks is, oh, well, what if a sensor fails? I have to buy a whole new block. That's not actually the case. The sensor pods are all interchangeable separately. So if you happen to have a sensor not working correctly and you want to try a new one, basically you're just going to remove the lid and replace the sensor pod. If you want to up your range, if you're changing pressure ranges from 100 to 200 psi because maybe your circuit's changing or your needs for that sensor is changing, then you can upgrade your sensor to a different pressure range whenever you want. Basically, you just take it out, put the new one in, and you're ready to go. It's really quick and easy. We're going to show you how to do that here. So now I'm going to show you how to change the sensor pod. Just going to take your Allen wrench and remove the lid. Yeah, that's good. So now with the lid off, you can see what we have to work with inside here. The housing for the sensor block and the lid are hard anodized billet aluminum. And we have a rubber gasket here that seals the lid and seals the sensors from the elements. Inside the block here we have our 3 sensor pods and then our circuit board on the side that the electrical connectors connect to for the sensors, and the pass-through to your vehicle looms are there. On this sensor board, the 0 volt and 5 volt are circuit protected, so if there happens to be a sensor failure, it will not take out all of your sensors. It's isolated to the one. So as you see now with the lid off, the sensors plug directly into the board. If you happen to take out all the sensors or unplug too many and don't remember where they go, on the board it's labeled sensor 1, sensor 2, sensor 3, and sensor 4. And if you look on the instruction sheet on our website, we have labeled of which sensor is which on here. Sensor 1 starts closest to the electrical connector, sensor 2 and sensor 3. Right now we have sensor 2 unplugged and out. We'll slide him back in as we're going to go to the reassemble. It can only go in one way. It's indexed. You have your label facing out. And you can see here there's a channel cut into the housing. This channel is where the electrical wires are going to lay down into to get over to the board. So this is really the only thing you have to watch out for when assembling these, is that you have your wire tucked in that channel, you get your gasket on, and you get your lid on without pinching a wire over on this side. You'll know right away if you have it wrong, because the lid's not going to stay flat. The screws are very short, so you'll have a hard time getting them started if your wiring is out of place. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this sensor, tuck the wiring in, and go ahead and put the lid back on. The excess wiring falls down in this cavity. Now all the wires are laid down into the channel. So now we have the wiring in place, the gasket on, and you can see there's a recess also in the lid that accepts the wire some, so there is a little room there for movement. We'll get our lid set down, our holes lined up, and get a few screws starting. Go ahead and get all of the screws started before you tighten them down to make sure that you have the gasket aligned properly. You don't get any water intrusion into your sensor block. We also now have available a label sheet for these sensor blocks. If you have a sensor block already without labels, you can purchase this separately, and basically all new orders just will come with our sensor block. So we have some vocabulary on here so you can label your sensors, so when you go to work on the car later, you don't have to remember what that was because time may pass. So it looks good, and you'll be able to identify the sensor fairly quickly. One of the other unique features about the sensor blocks is the DT6 connector. It's a Deutsch connector with 6 pins. You always have 4 inputs available. So if you're running a 4 pressure sensor block, your 4 inputs are going to be these pressure or map sensors. If you're running a 3 sensor block, you're going to have your 3 pressure sensors, then you're going to have a single M5 connector on the side, which will allow you to expand to a temperature sensor. And then again, going right down the line, 2 pressure sensor here allows 2 M5 connections on the side, so you're always 4 available inputs. Here's an example of what you would use with that for. So you have your loom coming out of your ECU, out of your car harness, going to your sensor block. You have your 2 pressure sensors, and now you're going to have 2 temperature sensors. We offer a pre-terminated M5 cable in multiple different lengths. This would be IAT sensor, and then this would connect directly to the side. So now you have an all-in-one, all of your connectors going to your ECU on your 1 pin. This guy feeds the side here, 1 connection from the cars, simplifies wiring, it's clean, it's very robust, so you don't have a lot of failure points, so you're not disconnecting and reconnecting a lot of wiring when you're servicing your car. As you can see, it's pretty simple to change the sensor. If you're ever in the situation where you feel like you need to update your pressure range or go ahead and swap one of those out, you have the ability to do that pretty much right on the car. You can remove it from the car to do that. If you have any more questions about the sensor blocks that we have or offerings available, please reach out to our sales staff or check out our website.